Hey guys, welcome to Mill Gap Farms. Today we are going to be weaving on our Ashford rigid heddle loom. Come and join us and I hope you get to learn something. Okay guys, so we are all warped up and ready to go. What I do have in terms of some supplies is a pair of scissors for our color changes. I have some extra paper and this will go underneath when we start wrapping our project onto our back peg to help with tension. And then since this project takes 3 colors, I have my shuttles loaded with my 3 different colored yarns that I will be using today. I'm just gonna fix my tension and we'll get started. You don't want it too terribly tight, because if you have a very tight weave, your project tends to be stiff. So I'm going to start with my white color. It's going to be a block pattern, so it'll go white, gray, black, and then it will repeat. Let's see, where did we finish off? So my last buffer was on the up position, so I'll start in the down with my white. We are going to feed our shuttle through. I usually leave about 4 inches of a tail, and always have your yarn go at a diagonal. It allows for, I guess it gives the yarn a little bit of give to actually have enough yarn on here to go up and down. Does that make sense? So beat it down, go into the up position, right? We started on the down, so now we're gonna go up. And before I feed my shuttle through again, I'm going to tuck my tail in. So I have my tail right here. I'm going to feed it through. And same thing, it's at a diagonal. Okay, so it's at a diagonal and then I'm gonna beat it down. I'm gonna stay in the up position because it didn't actually weave that way. You don't want to pull it too tight. If you pull this too tight, then your sides will cinch in. But you don't want it too loose or you'll have like wiggly sides. Does that make sense? So I normally hold my end when I pull it taut, just so I know that I'm not going to be pulling it too tight or make it too loose. And then since this is a simple weave, we're just going to continue that until I'm at the size that I want. So I want them to be true blocks where they're fairly much the same size lengthwise as they are height-wise. And then what I'll do is I will count how many rows it took, so that way I can replicate it all the way through my project. Now you do want to be careful not to snag your shuttle on any of your warp threads. It'll pull them, they'll become loose. I have snapped my warp threads. I still have yet to perfect how to tie it back together when I do snap one. Now there is a trick. I have an extra, so I have an extra one of the cardboard sticks. Sometimes when you warp up back here, the yarn starts to stick. So when you're in a certain position, they may get to the point where like some may be down, some may be up, where it's not a fully open shed. So what you can do, you could take one of your extra cardboard slats, put yourself in the down position, come back behind the reed and go in between the two, right? And then shove this bad boy up. And it will keep your yarn from sticking. I've just noticed that that helps. So, little tidbit. We're gonna go one more. For some reason, when I do this pattern, I like odd numbers. So, since my tail is on this side, I'm gonna count from this. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30, 2, 4, 5. So we have 35 rows. What I'm gonna do now, we're going to be changing color. So I snipped that. We are in the up position. We're gonna weave this bad boy in, just like we did in the very beginning. But now that there's not a whole lot of weaving room up here, I want to wind on my project onto this back peg. That's where this paper comes in. So I have some scrap paper. What I am going to do is I'm going to start winding it on. Now, when the yarn or the knots come about to the back board or the back rod, that's when I'm gonna put in my paper, so that way the yarn's actually gonna be holding it. Because again, you know, you only have 2 hands and there's 15 things that you got to do at the same time. So work smarter, not harder. So the yarn kind of holds it, and this is where we start wrapping it on. And that's about, I keep it about 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches from the back board, just to keep it easy. If you wind it on too close, then it's more difficult to beat down your weft, your weaving. But the paper helps, since you have like the knots there, it keeps everything kind of flat. So it keeps your tension fairly even. Now our little slat guy came down. I'm gonna put it back in the down position, hoist this bad boy up, and then fix my tension. Tighten it up. We are good to go. So now we're going to the gray. And now instead, since we ended with our tail, I'm one where I like to weave with my tail first, opposed to like weaving a row and then weaving in my tail. I'm gonna do my tail first. So we're gonna go up, feed this bad boy through, and I'm going to let my yarn tail come on through. I'm gonna stop at about 1/2 inch on top of my white tail and beat it down. I'm gonna go into the down position and then I'm gonna start weaving. I have noticed that if you, I don't know how to explain it. I was always doing it where I would do like a true weave and then weave in my tail, and that kind of always left like a chunkier line. Like you could always see where the tails were. When I do it this way, it kind of hides the tails in the fabric of your project. And we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing. Okay guys, so I just finished my last block. What I'm going to do now is we're going to cut right back, right up against the back warping stick, and we're going to tie off our weave. Okay, so we're going to take out our last strip, take my scissors, and like I said, we're going to cut right along the back warping stick. That way we get as much fringe as possible. And now we're going to tie these. With this project or this length scarf, I do them in sections of 4, but the 2 outer sections have 5, just to keep things even. There are a couple of different ways that you can, I guess, finish off your scarf. This is the way that I normally do it. So I take my 4, I make a knot, and then I get it nice and tight right up against my weave. We're going to do it on this side. We'll take our project off the loom. Do the same thing to the other side. And then we're going to wet finish it. And all that means is we're going to soak it in some soapy warm water and then hang it out to dry, and then we're done. So there's this side. Take out our cardboard stick and start to untie this side. So this was our buffer yarn. Always use a different color when doing your buffer yarn, so that way you could tell what's the buffer and what's not. I'm going to take the first thread or the first string. You're just going to pull it through. And it just slides right out. And then we're gonna start knotting again. And then we trim our fringes so that way they are even. I like to match up. Tassels. I keep my scraps because I will make, I will card this into a bat and then make like a scrap yarn, art yarn. So nothing really goes to waste here. And now we are going to take this bad boy over to the sink. We're gonna do some warm soapy water, a quick wash, do the same thing with a rinse, just, you know, warm temperate water to rinse the soap out, and then we're gonna hang it up and let it dry. Okay, y'all, so I have some warm water. I'm just gonna take a little bit of Blue Dawn. And then when I mean a little, like a couple drops, right? A couple drops. Doesn't need to be a lot. You could also use Unicorn. The brand is called Unicorn and it's a fiber wash. But you don't have to. Just a little bit of Blue Dawn. You don't want it sudsy because then it takes too long for you to be able to rinse out the soap. But I'm going to take my scarf. I'm just going to submerge it. And the warm water will help like tighten up the weave, especially since this is an alpaca merino blend. The merino fiber tends to shrink because it's wool. You don't want to really agitate it because it has the potential to felt. So that was the wash cycle. Going to dump our water. Refill it with the same temperature. And this should only require one rinse. And then we're gonna put it up on our line to hang it to dry in the sun. And it will ship out tomorrow. We'll be done. This is also the process you would use if you needed to wash your scarf. You don't put alpaca or merino in to the wash, like the washer and dryer. This is how you would wash your garment. That is it. We're going to get ready to put this out on the line. I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all dry.